Hey, this is Mark with Kefficient. Today I just want to talk about a question that we hear frequently, which is how much does it cost to encapsulate a crawl space? It's a really good question, but one thing to keep in mind is there are a lot of variables when you're pricing a crawl space encapsulation. Number one would be water intrusion. Is there a need for a drainage system? Some homes have issues with water intrusion, others don't. But it's a really good idea to install a drainage system to protect your crawl space, because you don't want to spend all that money on an encapsulation and then have your crawl space flood and ruin your encapsulation. Number two is the square footage of the crawl space and how tall the walls are. Obviously, the more square footage you have and the taller the walls, the more material that will be used while your crawl space is being encapsulated. Number three is, are there issues with wood rot in the crawl space? And if so, that's something you want to address prior to an encapsulation. You don't want to put in a nice new liner and encapsulation system and then have somebody come in and address the woodwork after it's done. It's something that should be done prior to the actual encapsulation. And number four, is there termite activity or termite damage in the crawl space? If there is termite activity, we want to bring in a professional, one of our friends at a pest control company, to come in and treat the crawl space and the outside of the house for termites prior to doing the encapsulation. That's a really important thing that you want to address. You don't want to just encapsulate your crawl space and have termites actively consuming your wood in the crawl space. So what typical price range do crawl space encapsulations fall in? Again, there's a lot of variables, but most crawl spaces will fall in the $7,000 to $13,000 range. We've done some that were a lot less than $7,000. We've obviously done others that were $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. So a lot of variables in pricing it, but we find that the average crawl space falls into the $7,000 to $13,000 range. Another thing really to keep in mind when you're seeking quotes to do an encapsulation is to make sure you understand what the company is proposing, because in the industry there's a lot of people that claim to do encapsulations, and all encapsulations are not the same. A lot of these companies are putting in a very cheap liner, running it on the ground. Sometimes it's not even sealed, and they're putting in a dehumidifier, and that's just not going to solve your problem. So make sure you understand exactly what you're getting with your encapsulation, what the scope of work is going to be, and what to expect throughout the project, and as well as what to expect in the end. You don't want to pay for this twice. Crawl space encapsulations are not cheap, and you want to do it right the first time. So this is Mark with Kefficient. I appreciate you following along, and I hope you have a good day.